This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Uh,
Got your co-host. Nice. Who's on there?
Morning.
Morning. How are we doing?
Good.
Carla.
I'm gonna make you co-host as well, Carla.
Okay.
So when are you gonna talk to your that seller again? Or do you guys
You
have
know
a?
what? She didn't send me the information.
Mm,
Remember I told you last night
yeah.
that I told her like if she didn't send me like the last statement, like I wasn't gonna schedule the call. So she never did.
Mm.
So
So she doesn't even that even if she can't send in a statement, does she know like her payments and interest rate and things like that? Or what's the
she probably does. I would think she does know, but she
if
doesn't want to give
anything,
me the info.
right? If they're going slow in the info, then like you know what, just get the verbal information and
Uh-huh.
then because then you can at least write up a contract, an offer, and all that stuff,
Okay.
and then you can get as once everything's kind of signed, ready to go. Cool, awesome. I just need to get that just like because my title company is asking for it or whatever, right?
Okay.
That's cool. It's exciting. Sandy coming on. Excellent. Okay. So we get this party rolling, guys.
Do it.
What now? Let me ask you this: did anyone actually do the mirroring practice at all? I know yesterday y'all failed me or failed yourselves, better said. Did anybody do the mirroring practice? Oh, killing me, Smalls. Killing me all. That's how it is. The heart, knife to the heart. That's what it is. That's okay. I'll just close all the deals and I'll get them all. It's okay.
Gotta be honest with you, Jared. So we gotta be better.
I appreciate the honesty. That's for sure. Okay. So just a reminder that the Saturday at 1 o'clock, we're doing the door knocking, another door knocking bonanza. at 1 o'clock. And Maylee's going to be there. And we're inviting the challengers to join us. So the Mill Creek, it's at Hillview Detention, Basin Park. I don't think it's right. Basin Park, I think it was actually. May have copied that wrong. What the deuce? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basin Park. That works.
Of course.
Okay. Listos. What any questions because we talked about overcoming objections yesterday about especially with creative financing, and we talked about we can talk a little bit more about the how to pitch creative financing, because I think we may have skipped that. We went straight from overcoming objections. Oh, but before we do, actually, I want to show you guys something. It's kind of cool. So if you guys, has anybody looked at Deal Machine yet?
I haven't.
No? Okay. So just here's something cool. So I was talking to Michelle about it yesterday, and she was like, so can we do multiple, like have like more than one sign on? I'm like, I'm not too sure, but I'm pretty sure we can. So let me share this. This is cool.
I have.
So, oh, it's Jason. Yeah. So, do you have the multiple sign-ons, or is it
Yeah,
just a single?
I have 3 user, and
And
all
are the
3
other
are
and three what?
yeah, all 3 I have the other 3 using them.
Got it. And do they have the same access as you have it, or is it like limited, or can you control that?
You can control that. You can just make them just drivers of the app or full access admin.
Okay.
It depends on how much access you want to give.
Got it. So, because Michelle was talking about like, well, what if a bunch of you got like one account and had different sign-ons? So for example, like in Deal Machine, so it has 3 users, and you can export up to 50,000 leads, or export 30,000 leads in a month per month. 3 call tracking numbers, so it has different numbers when they're called, like the return message, the return and call message. The AI, the routing planning, mailing sequences, custom mailers, 10 custom fields. I'm not sure what that is, but so mailers as low as 62 cents per mailer. It's actually pretty good. But it has so a dialer, so driving for dollars and a dialer, and basically unlimited skip tracing. So I would spend with Mojo $200 to get a quarter of this. So yeah, that seems to be it's pretty awesome. I think so if you guys wanted to get together, and if you're all doing it for 180, that's pretty decent for if you divide it by 3. So maybe if you are interested in something like that, you can always just like $60 a month per person if you guys want to do it. But you still get the week for free, and then all the other benefits you get with signing up too. But I think that's a good, because I'm not just trying to be in a shill and push this, but I mean it's pretty decent. So I don't know if that helps or not. So it's like comes to an average like $60 a month, which I think is doable for most people. While the 180 might be a little tight, So just a thought. Okay. Love it. 1 p.m. Turn my thing off. Yeah. So what questions do we have? What do we got going on? No questions at all? How are we doing on our MMA, guys? Are we taking enough? Are we doing all the MMAs and actions, and like if we're doing our sacred time, are we making phone calls? Or what seems to be some challenges you guys might be facing? Is it pulling a list? Is it just motivation, or you're just plugging away and you're getting there? What can we do to help?
I need to go back to like cold calling, like the NODs, like the lists and stuff like that. Like what would you say are the best as far as your videos? What would you say are the best videos to start with from like if you had someone you're starting with today,
Yeah.
what would you say are the best things to start with, Jared? Like starting from scratch.
No, that great question. So if I was telling someone to start from scratch,
Yeah.
first thing I would tell them to do is to watch the sacred time video.
Right. Which I've done.
Perfect.
Done all that. I've already started doing those, I've been doing those things.
Perfect.
But like as far as like getting my nerves better about doing NODs, because I've done NODs before, but I want to do it from like your standards. Like what's the best videos to watch? I mean, I've watched the cold calling. Is there specific other videos to watch for?
Well, speaking of so you watch the cold calling. Let me ask you this: Are you at? I'm just trying to. There's on week. Okay, let me focus back on cold calling then. So in week 1, November 22nd, I actually do a live cold calling session with everyone there.
Okay.
And I think I do that again. Also, private, no.
Was that when you called someone in particular? I mean, when you
it
called Bob.
was cold calling. It was cold calling, right? So I think that was cold calling using Mojo Dialer. Just made a bunch of calls. Let's see.
Okay.
But I think that'll be helpful too. So November 22nd.
Okay.
Watch that one. Where are you at as far as the great filter wise? If you don't mind sharing. So are you a little time, little money, or some time, no money, or no time and some money, or what? Where are you at in the
little time? I mean, I have some time, little bit of money, depending on
Gotcha.
where it's at. Yeah. When I have deals. So
No, perfect. I would also look at.
sorry, I don't want to take time away from other people.
No. Other people are thinking having the exact same challenges, so don't sweat it. I'm just trying to think what would be the good direction to send you. But yeah, it's making cold calls is going to be
okay. I just want to get back on track. I have a great battle buddy, but we just want to make sure that we're staying focused when we do our MMAs and what's the best direction to go.
Right, and it is kind of hard to say what's the best direction because it depends on your resources and your the time you're gonna be able to put into it. If you can sneak away a couple hours a day just making cold calls and just hammer them out, then 100%, right? That's
and that's me trying to get over my nerves first, so that if I've got the time, I just have to get the experience, and the more experience you get, the better you get at being able to do that.
No, yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you on that one. So it's just a matter of time. Like, so you're saying the nerves, is it, what are you having any challenges just kind of building up the courage to do it, or what's
that? Yep. But once you have the experience, then you don't have to, it's not the time. It's just it's just getting over that hump, the experience, because it's that, just the nerves of the no, and then getting shot down and that feeling. So
Absolutely. And I know you've read Go for No, right?
Yep.
Have you set no goals before? I know we've talked about it. I don't know if you've actually done so.
No, and I know Richard has talked about that before, but
Mhm.
it's kind of hard.
No, yeah, I get it. Like with the no goals and just being rejection just in general.
Yeah.
Again, overall, I think people are mostly pretty nice. You get once in a while, you get some jerks out there, but that's not a daily thing or as common. You get annoyed people, sure, absolutely, but that's kind of like usually the gist of it. So
Right.
just one of the best ways to kind of overcome some fears, and then we'll talk about go for no, is being present in the moment. The things with fear is only active in a future sense. You're only fearful of what will happen. You're not scared of what did happen or what's happening right this very second, like present.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
we're afraid of what's going to happen. If I go hiking and I see a snake, I'm going to have fear that he's going to bite me. If he does bite me, the snake bites me, I'm not necessarily afraid the snake's going to bite me anymore because he bit me. I'm afraid of what the venom might do, but I'm not afraid of him biting me anymore because it's already happened or it's already passed. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So just
Yeah.
realizing what the truth is, like where you're at, and knowing that rejection, because you're going to face rejection, right?
Yeah.
And
Of course.
this is probably the number one human fear is rejection.
Yeah. And I have that in my profession sometimes too, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I go
exactly.
through that being
Exactly.
a realtor.
100%, right?
Mhm.
People don't want to list with you, or they don't
Yeah.
want to put an offer in. Gazillion different reasons why they're going to reject you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get over that? How did you get over that little hump of those potential rejections or those rejections in your as a realtor?
Because sometimes it's not about you. It's about their situation and the things they're going through. So I guess it's kind of the same thing with this as well, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's their own things that they're going through, you know, their own problems. So it's not necessarily about you. It's
Right.
about the situations that they're in. So, but sometimes I just feel like if I say the wrong thing, it's because of what I did. So I just want to be armed with the best.
Let me cure your worries about saying the wrong thing.
Okay.
You're going to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's not if, you will say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I say the wrong thing all the time. We still close deals, and that's okay. So just lean into the suck. You're going to suck at first when you're making those first phone calls. It's not going to be great. That's okay.
Mhm.
You have to be okay with that. That's the challenge, right? You have to be okay with not being awesome right away.
Yeah, and I already did that because like I was like, oh shoot, they answered. I was like,
Yeah.
So,
That is same thing when I'm knocking on doors, I'm making phone calls. I still get like, the first call, I'm like, don't answer.
right. Yeah.
You know,
That's
that
where we
totally,
were.
of course. But once you get past that first call, like, or just an example. So knocking on doors 2 Saturdays ago,
Mm-hmm.
you were really nervous at first, weren't you?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the first guy was the nicest, so it made it easier, and he was just darling. So we
Yeah.
could just, you know, visit with him, and it just became more comfortable and just easier to talk to. And then you're right, he just kept, you know, telling us everything about the whole neighborhood and
Yeah.
who was around there. So it made it a lot easier to just have like a conversation like we knew him forever. So
Right.
then after that, it made it more comfortable to just, you know, start talking with people. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, that's exactly. So and that was the similar messages across the board from what everyone was telling me about, especially with door knocking.
Yeah.
They were nervous at first, but at the end, like the energy was palpable when we were done. Like it was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, even I mean, like CJ and Lily, they didn't have great luck knocking on doors. They didn't really have a lot of people open up to them, or you know, they were having so they were a little bit on down, like, oh, that kind of sucked. But then they came and then they heard all of your guys' energy, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go again. We need to do this again. We need to give this a try. We just had a bad lump. That's it, you know.
And now we know not to use the ring next time.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Someone should have told you that way before. But
that's okay.
But that's the thing. That's the thing. Like you got to remember when you first start, and I've said this before, but it's really important to put this into context. And thanks for being vulnerable, first of all, Sandy, and
Sure.
sharing, because people are having the exact same challenges, like guaranteed. The thing is, if you recognize what's the truth, when you make that first phone call, when you knock on that door,
Mm-hmm.
do you have a deal ready to go, or the next deal ready to go? No, you don't.
No.
You knock on the door, the guy's a jerk, he hangs up, or slams the door in your face. Do you have a deal after that event? No.
No.
So you didn't have a deal
Always.
before, you didn't have a deal after. Did you lose anything?
No.
Was there any, because this is fear of loss, right? Fear of rejection. But the thing is, you didn't lose anything. There's
Mhm.
absolutely nothing to lose. But what you did gain is experience.
Right.
You did like, oh, I know I can build the courage to knock on that door. And the next person that knocks or is going to answer, they're probably not going to be as mean as that guy. So this is going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I definitely gained a lot more confidence and a lot more momentum in wanting to
Right.
go again. So that
Phenomenal.
definitely helped.
I love that. I love that a lot.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
and I think with cold calling too, is creating the avatar. I know we talked about this before, but have you done it? Do you know what I mean by when I don't know if you were part of the call when we talked about avatars or not, but
Mm-mm.
and I think this is good to kind of go over again. I think it's important, and we should have this avatar for not just phone calls, but knocking on doors or whatever. Especially if we're knocking on doors this Saturday. Everyone should have an avatar of the ideal person that we're gonna help. And there's no wrong answer to this. It's just you got to make sure that you want to kind of piggyback on the emotion.
Mhm.
So an avatar, or let's back up. A lot of these people are like in the worst time of their lives. You guys heard me say that multiple times, right? But these guys are legit in the worst time of their lives. There is someone right now on their knees, Sandy, praying for someone like you to come help them.
Right.
Like they really are. They're people that are desperate, and even if they're not religious, they're just hoping and hoping that someone's going to come help. They need Sandy Frazier to give them a call. So here's what, as far as the avatar goes, is this: you create this imaginary person as detailed as possible. It's a person in their mid-30s. They have 2.5. They got 3 kids. Person's name's John Smith, whatever, and they're about to lose their home, and they would just be felt so blessed if we can come and help them and just take over the payments and then remove them from this stress and pain that they're suffering from. So whatever story you want to put into it, right? You can go as detailed as
Yeah.
possible, and give the person a name, and you know, whoever it is, maybe it's Bertha, I don't know, whatever. And
Yeah.
another thing what I would do is, so you want to print that off, and also you want to either go to like either Google Images or just go to any AI image generator and put a realistic picture of this person, this description, and post a picture or with the description of your avatar and a picture. So if
Mhm.
it's Mary, okay, cool, Mary Smith, awesome. You're calling to talk to Mary. You want to talk to Mary because that's the person that's literally on their knees praying and begging for Sandy Frazier to give her a call, even though, you know, but someone like Sandy to give them a call, right?
Right.
And as you're going through the calls, and this is kind of like the go, and I'll talk a little bit about the go for no on this. As you're going through the calls, like when someone rejects you, it's like, okay, cool, great. I'm getting that out of the way. I'm one closer call to talking to Mary. Mary, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm here to help. I'm coming. And it just goes, just like they're in the way. You're getting those stupid calls out of the way so you can talk to Mary.
I love that. Yeah. Because that like gives you that push, that
Yeah.
momentum to get closer to that, your avatar. Yeah.
Right. I mean,
For
we're
sure.
all we all want to make money, of course, and there's
Yeah.
nothing
But
wrong
it's
with
about
that
the
at all. Like,
people.
but we're in a situation where we can make money and change people's lives
Hmm.
without
Yeah.
being
And
like you. That's kind of cliche-ish to say, but it's true. Like, or at least get them in a better position so they have the opportunity to change their lives.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So that's going to be huge. And I recommend everyone, even with going door knocking, just create that avatar. And
I love that. I don't know why I missed that. I'm definitely making my avatar today, like what Nate said. I'm making my avatar today for sure. Love it.
Yeah, it becomes a whole, because cold calling in the right mindset sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
100% it sucks.
This is rewarding. That's what Renatus is all about. It's so rewarding in so many ways. So
absolutely, absolutely, and whatever kind of fits your personality, as far as like, making it, whether it's a game, like I want to talk to 3 different people, or I'm going to talk to 5 more people than I did in an hour. I don't know, whatever makes sense, right? That for you, if the avatar thing isn't pushing you, but like I'm an executive, so I'm about competition. I'll compete against myself, or what, you know what I mean? You can do whatever. If you just leave it as like I'm going to make a phone call, then it's like your energy is low because of the feeling. What if I get rejected? And you're going to get rejected. And knowing that, like, oh, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay because I'm almost there to marry. It's awesome.
Right. But I'm a director relator, so relating, totally pushes me towards this. So yeah.
100%.
So I'm okay with getting rejected if it gets me to my avatar.
See, that's right there.
I love
it
that.
changes the meaning of the activity.
Absolutely.
That's what that does.
Yeah.
One thing I liked about, so if you guys need to read Go for No, I forget who the author is, but just Google Go for No, you'll find it.
I have it in my Audible somewhere here.
Sandy will tell us, but
I can find it. Hold on.
The idea for Go for No is not setting goals for how many points you're going to set, but how many people are going to tell you no. The reason Eric Rowe.
Yeah, I thought it was Richard Fenton.
I think 2 people wrote it. Wasn't it a dual?
Yeah, it's Richard Fenton and Andrea Waltz.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, that's the one I read. So maybe I read the wrong one. I don't know.
I like that. So, Taylor says, also comparing. I'm very bad at these other people are doing great, or I'm very bad at, and versus these other people are doing great. I'm not letting myself down. It's hard, right? Don't compare yourself to anyone, whether that's up or down, right? Because there's always gonna be someone better than you. There's always gonna be someone that's gonna be worse than you in any case, right? So yeah, I get that. Love that. Nate, it's awesome. You're gonna be creating your avatar today. You need to find that person. Exactly. You just need to find that person. So on Go for No, the whole idea and concept, like I'm gonna give you the whole structure of the book in like 3 minutes. But if you had to put everything down, what is our emotional state when we're making these phone calls, or just contacting sellers, or whatever it is with phone calls? Like, we have a great conversation like Sandy did, and it was like you knew them the whole life, and you just connected, and you're having an awesome. Yeah, come on, let's come to my house. Let's have a conversation about selling it. Sweet, you're like over the moon. And then you get like 20,000 no's just right after that. And so it's like, I don't know if this works. Maybe I just got lucky the first time, and so then we get someone that sets the appointment, and this is kind of like it's up and down. Like every phone call is kind of like it's a roller coaster ride, because you don't know what's going to happen. Like or maybe nothing happens. And you're just like leaving messages all day long, and no one called you back. Like, I'm just wasting my time, and all of those things, right? When we get a yes, or have a really good conversation, like that's like it's a dopamine hit, right? It's like, yes, cool, awesome. I set an appointment, so excited. They said they would sign the contract. I love this. This is amazing. Versus like going for no, when you change your goals into like, I'm going to call for 2 hours and I want to set 5 appointments. Versus I want to have 10 people, or I want to have 25 people tell me no. Because no matter what happens, if you're having a conversation with someone, if they tell me yes, I want an appointment, sweet, awesome, we're in. They tell me no, check. Okay, that's great. I get a bit. So what I do is when I'm making phone calls, I will write out like 25, and I'll draw 25 boxes. And every time someone says no, I get a check mark. And it gets a little like, yes, I'm doing it. You know, like I'm getting closer to my 25. Like I can't stop calling until I hit that 25. Maybe that's not, I mean, depending on the time frame, right? But that's something you're gonna always challenge yourself with. That way, no matter what the resolution of that call, you're hitting the goal. That there's no lose in that scenario. You're hitting your goal, you're getting so that your emotional state isn't up and down, it's more stable. Right? And obviously someone says yes, might be getting a little higher, but everything is like, yes, I'm 25, you know, I want to get 25 no's to get to so I can talk to me. Like that's in your head. Just gonna keep on going. And the cool thing when you are going for the no's, you end up getting more yeses because what happens a lot of times, let's say I start making phone calls and I get 2 people to set appointments right away, like within the first 15 minutes, like call after call, like, oh yeah, sure, come by. Awesome. Sweet. All right, I think I'm good. I think I'm gonna go. Now I get those appointments set. I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna stop this action because I hit my or it was maybe 3, like I hit my goal for the yeses and I stop in 30 minutes. But if my goals is no, I need to get 25 people to tell me no. You'll probably get more than those 3 appointments. It'll probably be closer to 5 or 6 because you're not stopping until you hit those no goals. You're going to try to get those no goals. Those no goals. There we are.
Jared,
Yes.
something that it had helped me because at the beginning I was like Sandy, like I was nervous and like thinking that everybody was gonna say no, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I remember like the first time I would call like 6 people and then I would stop and go do something else and come back, no? But at this point, since I've been getting referrals I've been talking to people, I haven't found any wholesale deals, but I had talked to people, got 3 leads now for the education. So that have kind of motivate me
That's
to keep
awesome.
doing my calls. And last week I think it was last week, I realized that I had called 165 people and like
Yeah.
did not
Awesome.
even notice that it was that many until the end of my session. So, and I remember like you saying like there was a time where you were doing 500 calls. And so that's my goal now. It's like,
Yeah.
man, if I didn't notice like the time flew by and I called 165, I was like, my goal now is gonna be like 500 like Jared. So yeah, it's perspective too. So if like right now I'm not like so desperate to find a wholesale deal. I'm like, no, I might find a people that might be interested in the education. Like you said the other day, like that's stuck in my head. Like I'm leaving out of here with something.
I'm leaving here with something. I love that. I love that so much. That's the one thing I really like. So those 3 education prospects, that was from cold calling, or was it from like just from talking to people in general?
No, call calling.
From cold calling.
Yes.
So you were, and that's the cool part too. So like if you're afraid about getting rejection, normally if you are doing I'm leaving here with something technique, like, okay, will you sell your house? No. All right. Do you know anyone that would want to sell their house? Here's my referral program. Have you ever thought about getting involved in real estate? Like you're gonna leave here with something with this guy, even wrong numbers. I bought houses from wrong numbers. So you can definitely go through all of those and leave in here with something and really take a advantage of the time you're getting, which if you, by the way, if you're worried about rejection and you're trying to get like 4 things out of this one person, you're less likely to be rejected in one way or another. You know, so it definitely takes a big difference on or when you're doing the I'm leaving here with something. So I love that. Great job. That's awesome. Congrats. Yeah, and it's just a matter of time, you know. It's just a matter of time. That's all it comes down to. Freaking love this. Okay, what other questions do we have about this? Because this is an important subject, important thema. What are we lacking that are not taking action to, or enough action? Maybe you're taking action and give yourself credit for credit due. You know, if you're making 6 phone calls or whatever, and instead of 100 and 160 or whatever. I'd rather have someone make 6 phone calls versus 0. So give yourself credit if you are taking a little bit of action. Give yourself a little bit of credit and just see what you can do to up it. But I'd rather someone do 6 calls than no calls. So what else is kind of holding everyone back from, whether that's taking action consistently or actually doing their sacred time, making sure they're doing MMAs? Oh, Aubrey asked, is that 500 a week? It was, so when I was cold calling like nonstop, I was doing like 6 hours a day, and it was actually 600 on average. It was like 600 600 a day. And I was calling it because I'd call on average about 100 an hour, 100 numbers, I would say. But I got a ton of experience doing it though. I got rejected a gazillion times, literally thousands of times. But that's okay. Because I don't want to try to, if someone, I've dealt with some nightmare people, like when I'm buying their house, nightmare, insanity, like you or other agents, people probably understand this better than others. Just nightmare people. They're difficult and those are the ones that usually would have to kind of convince them to say yes and like, okay, fine, they're almost like twisting their arm to get something under contract, but then the whole time they're just being a big pain in the butt. So when someone like rejects you and like, I don't want to do this, just how dare you give me calls, eating my lunch and you interrupt me, whatever they're gonna say, like, okay, I don't want to work with that dude anyways. That's someone I don't want to work with. So thank you for showing me who you are. I don't want to work with you. That's awesome. Who's the prize? Who has the problem? Let me back up. Who has the problem? If we're calling the prospects, do we have a problem or does the prospect have a problem? Which one of us?
Prospects.
The prospects have a problem.
Yeah, we're trying to help them.
And we have a solution that can help them, correct? So it's not like, oh, okay, can I buy your house? It's, I know you're in some hot water, man. I can help you. You don't want help? Okay, fine. I got another 400 calls, so you're if you don't want it, that's fine. It's your bad. So more of like a pity on them versus like, oh, I'm being rejected. Like, oh man, that sucks to be him. Man, she's gonna hate herself for not listening to me. And then you just move on. The meanings that you would give things is really what they are. Objectively, because like, and again, it's so hard to kind of put yourself out of this mindset. Like when you're knocking on someone's door, when you're talking to someone that you haven't had any conversations before, it can be nerve wracking because we have that rejection. But in reality, when if I put it in like I'm going to be rejected, maybe I'm not thinking those words, but I had that fear, so I'm giving it a meaning. Like I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm worried that I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm worried that I'm going to make myself look an idiot and they're going to think I'm dumb or whatever it is. Like I'm not a professional. Whatever story you're telling yourself, that's why you're having that anxiety and fear. If you have the mindset of like we are the prize and I'm here to help them and I'm probably going to mess up in a few things and say the wrong thing now and again, that's okay because I can still help them even if I say the wrong thing or don't phrase it exactly how I should have phrased it, whatever. It's rare that someone says something to totally just torpedoes. Oh my gosh, that kills the deal. Can't even talk. Usually, if it's like one of the mistakes, you can still kind of save it, especially if they need to sell. So having that different mindset is huge, guys.
But Jared, yesterday on the call with my prospect or my lead for the wholesale, something she asked me was like, she asked me the name of my company, and I told her the name of my company, and she was like, "Do you have a website?" And I told her like, "I don't, I'm a small business," and she went like, "Oh," I was like, "Is it important for you for the business to have a website?" And she's like, "No, I'm just asking if you have a website."
That's a good follow-up question like that. Yeah, and So how did it go for that? So you said you're some small business and I don't need a website right at this point, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
love it. No, it's great. That's phenomenal. And people, people will ask that sometimes, obviously, like for the proofs. But the thing is with like that's a perfect rebuttal. I love it. And if you don't have if you don't have a company, you say I'm just a sole proprietor of my own business. You
And then
know,
she asked me like, does your friend have a website since I mentioned you? She's
oh
like,
yeah,
does your friend have a website?
I don't have no, I currently don't have an active website.
And I was like, I'm not sure, but that's when I asked her, like, how important is for you for us to have a website?
Use of my time and resources is just or excuse me, I don't use a website to market my service or business. I find the best way to actually get better results is having conversations with people like I'm doing right now with you. And so that's why I don't necessarily spend that much time and resources to get a really nice, fancy website when I can just have a real conversation with you. And so like this is my business model is like I don't do that. You know, if you're doing ads, then yeah, definitely want to get a landing page at a minimum. And even if you guys really want a website and we're not as iOS, you can create a website. They can create a landing page for you with a URL, or you can just go, or you can get your own domain. But they can give you like a sub URL that you can use, and it'll just be we buy houses. Enter your information, some videos on it too. So yeah, I mean the RAS iOS is great for that if you feel like you want that, but I wouldn't spend too much time on it because Carly answered that question, and it's how many people asked? So out of the 100 and something that called, how many people asked about the website? Like one?
One, yeah.
Yeah. So it's rarely going to come up, if at all. But and I do like your response. Like, is it important for someone to have a website to do business with you, or however you phrased it? You know, well, no, it's not. Okay, great. Then we move on. You know, I love it. And if you don't have an LLC up and running and you want to say you have your company name, like being a sole proprietor, you guys know what I have to do to have a business? It's like in the off it's like in the office how he declared bankruptcy by screaming in front of all his employees, you know. It's the same thing. Well, it's not the same thing, but you know, it's if as a sole proprietor, I don't need a LLC to be a business owner. I get Jared's yellow paper company now is in session. I'm a business owner. Ta-da, done. That's legally that's all you need to have a business. Now, obviously, there's more depth in taxes and protection, all that stuff, but be an actual business. That's it. You're a sole proprietor, don't have an LLC, great. And if you don't have an LLC, like make some money, then get an LLC. That's how I see it. That's what my when I first started, my attorney Cody Backus, he part of Renatus, and before I did a single deal, I went to so I guess I have to get an LLC, right? And he's like, well, you could, but I would recommend is to make some money first and then pay me the $500 to make the LLC and do it the right way. And so I don't know. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just telling you what an attorney told me what I'm doing. But don't let that stop you if anything. What other things is holding you guys back? I think this is kind of an important conversation, but what other things are holding you guys back from taking action or more of it?
Hey, Jared, this is Frankie. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can. Let's hear it.
Hey, listen, I got a quick question. Well, not a question, is something that I would like to do. I think you might be doing it.
Yeah.
Is that I work with different real estate agents.
Yep.
And they are bringing me deals, okay? But at the moment, I have two that I renovating. I'm fix and flip.
Beautiful.
And they bringing me more deals, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to know if there is a way that I can put them under contract and wholesale them.
So you have deals. So what are you trying to wholesale? The deals you're currently working on, or like the
No,
ones?
no, no. They are bidding me more deals.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Really?
Yeah. That's what we're
Because right now, man, I the last for last 4 or 5 days, they
Mhm.
bring me 3 deals. They were really, one of them actually got my wholesaler that I usually buy them from.
Yeah.
He put it under contract for $20,000 more than it was first brought to me.
Oh wow.
You know, yeah.
Yeah, you can make
So and
$20,000
they're
right
over
there.
here, and most of those deals that are bringing to me, they're being over here on the east side.
Mm-hmm.
And Holiday, Mill
East side.
Creek.
Oh,
Those are good areas, man.
gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean that's what this is. I mean that's what we're talking about. Like if getting it under contract and wholesaling it, like 100%.
okay, cool. Because I just got another one this morning, man, and I think I'm gonna go check it out.
But let me
And
ask
if
you. Let me ask you this: the deals that they're sending you, are they on the market or are they like pocket listings, or what's the scenario?
you know what, there has been 2 of them that have been pocket listings,
Okay.
and one of them is just barely went on the market yesterday. But
Okay.
the pocket listing, I went and looked at it and I said, hey, you know what? Based on my numbers, I would need this much to over $100,000 to get it renovated because it's a 2,800 square feet house. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say, you know what? The most I can pay is this much. And he says, oh, no, that's probably $50K under what the seller wants to sell it for. Say,
Yeah.
okay, well, then I'm not able to go higher than this because it needs too much renovations. And he says, so the seller went ahead and put it on the market, I think on like 125 over I was offering him, and he realized that he put it way too much higher. So he just brought it back to me this morning, with 50K over what I was offering. I says, hey, somebody else is offering him 50K over, would you go this high? And I go, no, because my numbers are my numbers,
That's good.
Yeah. So, but like this one that I just looked at it, the numbers work, and I base myself a lot on the proper value on county records. If the number that they're asking is kind of similar with county records, I say, this is probably a good deal. It depends on the renovations.
Right. So
So
are you using that kind of more like a purchase price for county records, or closer to an ARV for county records when you're
no, more like a purchase price.
okay. Yeah, because normally that's under the value of what you normally sell it for, which is kind of nice, typically.
Yeah. And like one of the guys way that I'm gonna renovate, I haven't even closed on it yet. Is like 50K under property, county records value, So
Right. But
I think
you
I
get
did pretty good on that one.
and you get
Yeah.
your ARVs, you get all that stuff too, right? And then
Yeah, I do all the whole thing before
okay.
I commit to something.
But
And
like just like shooting from the hip, just a quick little analysis, like, oh yeah, it's under that price, so it's probably gonna be okay. Is what you're saying.
yes. Do you do that as well though? Because if you, although I pretty much stay in Salt City County because I'm not able to get like Weaver and Utah County county records. Do you have to pay to get their proper value for?
Yeah, Utah and Weaver County, it's all available.
Oh, really? You know what? I haven't been able to find the proper value in Weaver or Utah County. Maybe next time I see you, you can show me or walk me through how to do that.
Do a Google search, parcel lookup, Weaver County, or parcel lookup in Utah County. And then when you put in the address and look up the address information, it'll be somewhere like tax records or tax, and then it'll show the value of what they're appraising it at, or what they're based on will be right there. So it's the same with, even if you did like the gig maps, it can still show you there. So yeah, you just gotta play around a little bit, but if you need help, we can always kind of look at it and pull it up.
Cool.
Pretty easy.
Because I've been getting a lot of. I know you do a lot in Ogden, but I've been getting a lot in Utah County, man. I see some of the prices that sellers or wholesalers are asking for. So I go, man, would be a good deal. But those deals like that,
Right.
flippers, they just grab them really quick, man. So by the time I check them out, they're already gone.
Right. Well, and that's a challenge on the market. If you are going to wholesale stuff that's listed, just make sure that you need to get the price low enough that obviously the numbers make sense, but you want it to be lower than what the listing what is listed at. Because if let's just say you got it, they're asking 450 and you got a contract for 450, the numbers make sense, awesome. But then you're trying to wholesale it at 470. If Sandra as a flipper, she goes, oh great, cool. So Frankie sent me this deal. I'm gonna go look at it. She's gonna do a search, just like looking at it, pull in a Zillow or whatever, and shows that it's under contract, but it's listed at 450, and you're trying to get 470. They're like, from my experience, even if the numbers make sense, like even at the 470, it makes perfect sense. But there's it's like anchor them in a low at that price point, and so they're like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. And so it does turn off a lot of investors if you're asking or starting suggesting price is higher or the exact same as the listed price if you're doing on market stuff as wholesaling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You know what's funny though? There was some property that over here in I think it's Mill Creek, and they were asking 500 for it, okay, because we knew the property was worth way worth more than that. We offered 435. And guess what? We didn't even get it because somebody outbid us by 10K.
And 435 or 45.
Yeah, no. They were asking 5, and we offered 535, and someone outbid us at 545.
Oh, you
believe
offered
that?
so you're like 35,000 over asking.
Over asking, and I got beat out by somebody else, man.
Yeah,
so this area is so
not very
hard,
often, but yeah.
Yeah,
this
not
is
very
a couple
often.
years ago. This is recent.
Yeah, it was last week.
Last week.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a flip that we're about to hit the market. Can you make me an offer? That'd be great. Just over asking would be awesome.
Yeah, but you know what though?
Yeah,
I've been getting beat out by a bunch of flippers over here, man. I told you I've been looking at several on this east side. I'm not able to get one.
In that case, I mean, if I know, yeah, agents sending you deals, that's awesome, right? Then I would just look at those and look at off market stuff. When you're the only one that knows it's for sale, it's a lot easier to negotiate a better deal. You're not going to be outbid by someone else. You just got to convince or show the seller the value of what your offer is.
Yeah, and that's the reason that I'm in your class, Jared, because I want to learn how to do that,
Totally.
And so
Totally.
I don't get, so I get better at it, So
no, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Jared.
No problem, Frankie. Great, keep up the good work, man. Excited to see what happens. Yeah, you can definitely wholesale stuff on the market. Absolutely. Okay, what?
I have another thing that's holding me back, Jared.
Yes, all ears.
So I used to work in the social work field and with a lot of crisis cases. And so like, what would you recommend with boundaries? Like, do you ever get people that are just like calling you in the middle of the night or like just constantly and just like, I don't know, just anything like that?
No, I don't normally get people calling me in the middle of the night. Once in a blue moon, like there'll be like so what are you referring to as calling like someone that we're going back and forth or like from returning the phone calls as a cold caller or what's your fear like when or just in general calling in crazy times?
Someone that you're going back and forth with who knows that you can help them, but they almost become like super attached and hyper focused about it. And so I'm just wondering if that's a problem in this area. If I need to like have an answering machine saying I'm only available at these hours, or if I need to have it do not disturb or something like that.
No, great question. Your sellers, and this is true for buyers, will do what you train them to do. So if they're calling you at 11 o'clock at night and you answer, oh, great. I know I can talk to Aubrey at 11 o'clock at night. I just got to call her. If it always goes to voicemail at 11 o'clock or it shows as do not disturb, then but you call them back the next day at 10 a.m. or something, or whenever you want, right? Then they're gonna know, like, oh, I'm just gonna wait until 10 in the morning to give her a call because that's what she calls me anyways. So it's not really that I really haven't had too much of an issue. I've had some late texts now and again, just like, but they know it's late. Like, sorry, it's late. Just wanted to get this out of my head because they can't sleep, and that's like not a big deal. I don't look at it in the morning anyways, and they're not usually expecting a reply right then and there. But I really haven't had too much of a challenge with that. There's some people that were a little bit more aggressive and attached, like you said, than others, but for the most part, I mean, it's not normally a too big of a challenge. But that's a good question to have.
Thank you.
What other concerns do you guys have? Like, I know we're still didn't talk about seller financing, but I think this is more. Yeah.
I have a question, not necessarily related with what's holding us back, but regardless to a subject to possible deal. What's your experience with FHA loans on a property?
Yeah.
Subject to.
So FHA,
what is the risk that FHA can call in on the loan?
If it's very high, very high. So like with FHA, Utah Housing, subject to like if any red flags are raised, there's a good chance they're going to do unsell clause, right? So one way to kind of avoid that challenge is not do sell by doing a trust. So I had to do this whenever, even with VAs in the same scenario, I put them in trust. So basically what it is Whitney and GT Title can do this for you. Not GT Title, Whitney and REI Title, excuse me. Whitney can do this for you in REI Title. She's amazing. But so basically what it is that they create a trust, and the name is like the address of the property. You know, it's not, and trust, and then they transfer the title over to the trust name, so it's under the control of the trust. That happens all the time. That's not a red flag, because if you're whether you're estate planning or just want to have extra protection, that's a normal thing to happen. So they put the ownership into the trust, and then you're not actually buying the property, you're buying the trust that's in place. You're buying that trust, and they relinquish all control of the trust, and now your company owns that trust, which owns the property, and then you're just making payments to that mortgage, that scenario. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it does. So basically, let's say that I engage into this subject to. I need to ask the owner or take the owner to the title company so they can put a trust in place, and then add me as a beneficiary of the trust.
So the trust is gonna, like how Winnie does it. She just does it like at a closing. Like here's the documents you need to sign to make the trust. Great, and then so like when I'm talking to him about seller financing and doing subject to, I don't mention the trust very often right then and there, because it's too much. If they haven't really heard of a subject to situation before, it can be overwhelming, because a confused mind does what? They quit. So a confused mind just quits. And so I don't go in detail as far as like the trust thing. I just my same how I would normally talk about subject to. And then once I, whether that's later on or like, oh, by the way, this is because it is this type of loan, we just got to do the transaction a little bit different. This is how it's going to happen. So nothing, we're just going to be able to basically buying the trust from you. So nothing's going to change for you as far as how much you're getting, what's going to happen. Everything that we're said is true, right? So and it's usually like either sometimes even during that conversation after everything's kind of been settled, or like the next conversation after that kind of thing. So it doesn't cost that much to do an extra trust. If you add 3 extra S's, it costs more. But it doesn't cost a ton of extra to do a trust. We're looking like an extra $1,000 or so, which isn't crazy. Perfect. Did that answer your question, Joel? Yeah. Okay. I think Sandra had her hand up, and then Natalie.
So yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah.
names will remain on title. The original names will remain on title and on the insurance, the home insurance.
The home insurance will stay, but the title, the name on the title will be the trust name, and your company will own the trust, assuming like if you're buying it yourself, for example.
Right. Okay. I see.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
No problem.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, Sandra. What would you had your hand up?
Just wanted to add a little so I can get it out on my chest too.
Yeah.
Well, for those that like myself, that sometimes we deal with issues at home, intending, setting boundaries, because it's easy to go back to the same routine. And if we don't disrupt the routine, then it will go back to it, right? So my issue on time is like once I get out of whatever I'm doing during the day, working or checking things out, by the time I get home, my family expects me to switch the mode to mom is
mode.
home.
Yeah.
So what I did is I went to the library, the public library.
Love this. I love
and
this.
then what the fact is, in the public library, they have private offices that you can use. So you go in there, put your phone on play mode, whatever, and nobody distract you over there. So you just concentrate on your thing. And even if it's just like for me, like half an hour, I'll do it half an hour, and but my biggest issue is been teaching my family to respect my time, because I also I'm not just a mom person. I'm also a businesswoman, and I want to grow in that area, but it was hard for them to understand that point of view. And but me separating the space, they're finally kind of like, oh, this is mom time. So where's mom? Oh, she's at the library. So for those that want to put boundaries at home or any other issue, or just separate things, like what time am I gonna dedicate, like that module about sacred time is gold. And also just figure things out, like no, I cannot do this, how can I do this? And by the way, those recordings that are in the school, are we still gonna have access, or are they going to be take away after the challenge?
Well, yeah, I'll still have access. I think I'm going to put them in a separate modular, where it'd be like the pre-game recordings, and then have you guys access to the recordings. Yeah. So yes, you'll have access to it, 100%. But I love that sound. That's awesome. That is nail on the head. Exactly what we should do. And when you're doing sacred time, it can be hard, because they're used to mom being home. They're used to dad doing X, Y, and Z, or sometimes like you get home from work and then you got something. The kitchen smells really, really good, and then you sit down and eat, and then it's like, oh man, but I'm gonna sit down and I'll start eventually. Nothing ever happened. I love that idea. I mean, of going to the library, and you get rooms, and a lot of them are like sound resistant or soundproof, so you can actually have phone calls in there. You just ask the librarian, like, how can I get a private room for X amount of time, or how do I schedule that? And you can even schedule that, so I think that's huge. Like, if you get home from work at 5 and it's hard to not go into dad/mom mode, then it's like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna, from 5:15 to 6:15, I'm gonna go to the library for an hour. And it's the same, like for the kids especially, or like, oh great, let's go do this, and this. I mean, like, most of my work I do in my home, and so when like the kids have day off or whatever, and it's just like, oh dad, let's do this, and this. Like, okay, we can, but at this time, because it's like they don't see it as work. But if you're not there, you're at work, then it's like, oh, okay, dad's at work. So I think separating that also helps them with the mindset as well, as far as what you're training. That's beautiful. Love that, Sandra. Who else had their hand up before?
I did, Natalie.
Okay.
It's
Natalie,
really
okay.
Natalie this time.
I was gonna say, are you Spencer or Natalie? Okay, you're yeah.
Natalie. It has to do with the same thing though from last week when Spence commented. We called the numbers, got a hold of the son, which that was kind of a disaster. I didn't really want to call. I wanted to wait because I had found out that the dad had committed suicide a year ago this month. So I was like, I kind of want to wait. And so like, no, we've been waiting too long. So I agreed. I was like, okay. Called on the anniversary of the dad passing away.
So you just knew it was this month. You didn't know it was that particular day.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, so that was like, I obviously felt really, really bad. However, I did find out he let it go straight to the bank, doesn't want anything to do with it. So I'm asking about, it's not going to probate. It went straight to the bank. So am I right in thinking I need to look for auctions then?
So has it already been transferred over, or they're just not going to let it? They're just not going to deal with it. Let the bank take it. Like how far along the process? What was like?
He did not know how far along the foreclosure it was. So I know what bank it was, but even then, I don't know if that helps.
Well, I mean, the bank will be able to tell you, well, depending how far along the process is, if it's sent to attorneys, and if you know where attorneys, you can call the attorneys to tell you what the dates are and where they're at in the process. Sometimes the bank will tell you too, depending on the bank. But if they haven't done any of the probate case, they're okay with it just losing all the equity in the property.
Yep.
They would just like don't want to deal with it.
Exactly. He's like, because I did ask. I mean, I thought I caught him on the phone.
Yeah.
I know it's awkward, but I thought, if I don't remember how I phrased it, but basically, can I call you in the future if I need to? And he's like, no, I want to cut all ties, which was great to know, and then I know, okay, don't deal with son, deal with bank.
Yeah.
So would that be my next step? Call the bank, just kind of see if they'll help me out with that?
Yeah, it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt to call, right?
If
it's an REO type property where the bank owns it, or where you find out what the auction is, that's or if they're in the process of doing the foreclosure, who's the attorney which
is representing
attorney firm is doing it, then you can call them and find out a lot of information. So if there's a tax lien, there's options of like buying tax liens. So depending on how long it's been a year since he committed suicide, right? So they probably haven't made any payment since then. So
no.
Imagine the tax liens then. Yeah, but don't feel bad about calling him, by the way, on the anniversary. You didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
I mean, so it's like, and I think calling versus waiting was the right call.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, sure, if you probably knew this was the day, then I would recommend maybe just wait the day after, whatever. But you probably would have got the similar response, whether it was in 2 weeks or the next day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it probably wouldn't change anything anyways. Right. So don't beat yourself up at any means.
Okay. I won't anymore.
Yeah. No, it's good. No, you're fine. I mean, you're offering, remember, who is the problem? Do you have the problem or they have the problem? They do.
Yeah. Okay.
And you have a solution for them, whether they want to choose it or not. That's a whole nother story.
Okay.
So you are doing them a favor by calling.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Good job making that first call. Yeah. Talk to the bank. I think that's a good step to go see where they're at. You can also look up the county records and get if it's been transferred already, if it's already over into the bank's name, or if it's already been, done an auction. You can just look at the county records and find out that too. But if it's still in his name, then it hasn't completed the whole process then.
And the auctions through the county, when I'm talking to them, they're going to be able to tell me, right?
So like they'll do is it Utah County? Davis.
You have to go in.
So they'll do like a sheriff's sale, and so they'll do it through the city. So
okay.
But you can even ask. You can start making phone calls like, hey, so how do I find out the house again? You just ask people. And like,
Yeah.
you may not be able to help me, but hopefully you can point me in the right direction.
I'm good at
How to
that. I
find
can
out
do
the
that.
houses. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I'm good at that. I can do that, asking questions.
Right? Yeah, that's it. You don't got to know all the answers. You got to know who to ask. And
Okay.
maybe who to ask is the wrong person, but you know to ask
can
them where to
point.
ask.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Frankie, I'll get you 1 second. So we have Malu. So do you guys have a lot of problems trying to get the correct numbers or phone numbers for property owners when you skip trace? That is a very consistent challenge when you're skip tracing and getting phone numbers. Most of the numbers will be wrong. So that's just the thing. That's why it's always good to, I'm leaving here with something, because you never know what you can get. But awesome. Frank, what's up, man? You ask your question. I'll probably have to
How
call
you
it.
doing?
Yeah. What's good, man? How you doing, man?
Good, good. Hey, so getting back to talking about the FHA loans.
Yeah.
On seller financing,
Yeah. Subject to.
So yeah. So yesterday, so we were talking about with a lead yesterday. This is a realtor. They said that they've been working creative financing using something differently than what I explained it to her, like the most clean way to do it. It's the way that we've been learning that you also been teaching us too,
Yeah.
put the property under a trust, living trust or family trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
And put the beneficiary, the buyer has to be the beneficiary, right?
Well,
that's
initially it's going to be the seller, but then as part of the sale, they're
Initially,
relinquishing all
right.
rights to that. Yeah.
Okay. So, but the way that they work, I don't know what you think about this, but they said that they're gonna run a contingency, and then they're gonna change lease option, and then they're gonna move forward and do a contract for you. That's too tangled for me. I don't know.
So so they're not going to do the purchase. They're going to do a lease option for X amount of time, and then do contract for deed for the purchase.
Uh-huh.
That could work.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I asked them, hey, is this an FHA or conventional? And they said,
Right.
It's an FHA. And I told them, okay, do you have a plan? I know what we learned here, right? But I kind of asked her, hey, do you guys have a plan to avoid the due on sale? And then that's what she said.
Okay. I mean, that's the way to work because so lease option is basically guys like rent to own kind of scenario. Like you're renting the property, but then you have option to purchase the property, and you, so the seller can't go sell it to someone else either because of that option if it's written correctly. So that's a way of doing it too as well, is just doing the lease option. But you don't have actual ownership of the property when you're doing that too. When contract for deed is very similar. You don't have ownership of the contract or until the end of the contract. So
yeah,
there's pros and cons to both are doing it. But yeah, I mean that could work.
right.
Right. So was your question like, is that even is that a good way to do it, or is it a
versus the other way? Like, because I understand how this option works. I never had a property on this option, but I already reviewed the classes, and also I know contract for deed. I know it has a pros and cons tax wise.
Yep.
But I just wonder what's the best option. Like, okay, what would you do? Would you be able to do the way that they do, even though this dollar strategy? Or
I mean, you could do that. I mean, if it makes sense for the deal, right? I mean, I personally would rather have my company, if I'm buying, I'd rather have my rather own it versus just renting it, right? So, but
renting it, yeah.
But there's pros and cons. You're not worried about due on sell clause at all, but you don't actually own the property. So if there's, providing that contract, and it depends on how much. So if they're behind on payments, like to purchase the option might be the exact amount to get them caught back up. But the thing is, like, if you're doing a lease option, paying rent, and there's not necessarily them guaranteeing that they're going to
sell it.
rent. Well, with that rent money, pay the bill, pay the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
What you could do is like pay rent to an escrow company with instructions to pay the mortgage, and then the sellers can get the extra. That's one way to kind of protect yourself a little bit. But if, like, for example, if I'm selling the property and I got mortgage that it's a property I'm going to lose anyways, or them selling anyways, and then you're just doing a lease option, what's going to stop me from just like, oh, okay, cool, I got the rent check, but I'm not paying the mortgage, so I just up my profit by a lot. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're going to do something like that, make sure that you set it up where you're paying the rent to like an escrow company, and the escrow company is going to pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
So it takes out all guesswork and hoping that they pay, because you won't know if they're not paying the mortgage until someone comes in and says, "Oh, someone bought this property in auction."
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's kind of a big con for that scenario, but it does can work. It's gotta it can work. You just got to make sure you set up correctly for that way. So I think,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to say one's better than the other, but I have my biases, I guess. But I gotta run, guys. But yeah, did that help, Frankie, or did you?
Yes, actually, yeah. Thanks.
Awesome, guys. Okay, I gotta run and pick my kiddo from school, but half day.
Hey, Jerry, what time's door knocking Saturday? Sorry.
Oh, great question. 1 p.m. We're doing 1. Be a little bit warmer than 11.
Thanks,
1 p.m. You're gonna send the address?
Yeah, it's in the park. I'll post it today. With the address, but it's in Mill Creek and Basin Park.
Awesome.
Basin Park. But I'll make a post about it today, and I'll pin it. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Jared. This has been great.
Oh, good. Glad.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.